Okay, welcome back to auditing for the summer session 2024. Today I'm going to talk about chapter 1. I'm just going to do a brief introduction. There are materials posted for you to review in more detail, including please read chapter 1 of the text. So in today's global economy, transparency is key to building trust and ensuring the integrity of financial statements. But how do we achieve this transparency? The answer lies in a critical process known as auditing. So let's explore what chapter 1 has to say about auditing. The first thing we should think about is distinguishing between auditing and accounting, since I know many of you have had accounting classes. So accounting is the recording, classifying, and summarizing of economic events for the purposes of providing financial information for key stakeholders, investors, and creditors. Auditing, on the other hand, determines whether the information is recorded properly and reflects the economic events that occurred during the accounting period. So this is what we're going to focus in on, is the different types of auditing that occurs. We're going to find that there's not just financial auditing, there's compliance auditing, there's operational auditing, and they all play a key role in verifying that the organization is performing at the level expected by key stakeholders. So let's reflect for a minute about the major goals of accounting audits. So what's paramount is transparency. We want to make sure that key stakeholders, investors, creditors, managers, and others who are interested know that we're being open and honest about the transactions and results of the operations. We also want to hold people accountable, whether the results be good or not so good. We want to make sure that the financial statements that are published have high quality. And specifically in the United States, that means compliance with generally accepted accounting principles with no material misstatements. And we also have to be concerned about compliance with tax regulations and accounting standards. And although it's not the focus, we have to be aware that fraud will sometimes exist. So we have to at least make some examination as to whether there's some underlying fraud going on. And fraud detection can be a very elusive issue, particularly if it's done well. So not the focus of auditing, but it is something that we should at least be aware can occur. So we think about the inherent risks of auditing. We have to recognize that there's lots of things going on that are outside the control of the audit, but nevertheless we have to think about them. Sometimes we're dealing with organizations that are very complex, so we have to understand how the business works and how the underlying transactions may evolve. We have to think about whether management's doing a good job, and also, perhaps most importantly, the integrity of management. Right. So we'd like to think that that all people operate with a high sense of ethical behavior, but in reality, we know that that's not always the case. So if we have concerns about the ethical behavior of those running the organizations, then we're going to have to expand our audit. If we decide at all to accept the engagement, and we have to think about what came up in previous audits and make sure that those issues have been addressed. And if not, then we have to highlight those. Okay, so there's a lot of inherent risks in auditing that we have to at least compensate for, if not address directly. So in addition to auditing, auditors may also do assurance services. So assurance services are broader than audit services and include any service that improves the quality of financial information for decision makers. While audit services focus specifically on financial information and compliance, other assurance services may cover performance efficiency, environmental regulations, and more. Auditors ensure that they are not just ticking boxes, they're adding real value in the organization. So when we think about auditing, we can think about it into three major categories. There's the financial audits, which what publicly traded companies need to have completed at the end of every reporting period. And this is done by a certified public accountant. And the purpose is to ensure the financial statements comply with generally accepted accounting principles. And the audit is done in accordance with generally accepted auditing standards, or GAS. And their opinion is integral to the confidence level that investors and creditors have with the financial statements that are prepared by management. So that's a big part of the role of auditing. But there are other types of audits as well. There's compliance auditing, and make sure that the entity receives financial assistance, complies with laws, regulations, and agreements. And again, it's big in government, but it can be other areas as well. And then there's operational auditing. This is something that auditors, particularly internal auditors, will spend a lot of time, and that's to ensure that the organization is making efficient and effective use of the resources that it has at its disposal. So when we think about auditing, it's not just a financial audit. There's the opportunity to do compliance auditing and operational auditing. So to become a CPA, certified public accountant, so to do most external auditing, you have to be a CPA. CPA is a licensed professional. To do internal auditing, many people who do internal auditing or compliance auditing are not CPAs, but let's talk about what is CP, how to become a CPA. So first of all, you have to complete the educational requirements, and typically that's 150 credit hours in accounting. Okay, so it varies state by state, but Massachusetts is 150 hours. Most states also require you to have 6 months to 2 years. I know Massachusetts, 2 years of auditing experience. And perhaps most importantly, you have to pass the AICPA exam. And that is a 4-part exam, and you have to pass that. So you need the educational, the work experience, and to pass the exam. And then once you've done that, you become a licensed certified public accountant. And that can open many doors for you. So it really is it's the gold star of the accounting profession to be a CPA. Okay, so that summarizes the key points of chapter 1. So I'll be doing a recording on the next lecture items, which will be chapter 2.